Today on the Tim Manor podcast show, I've got Martin Rylands of VR Supercars. Von Ryan, was it called?
Yeah, Van Ryan, yeah.
Where's that come from?
That is my family name. It's my mum's maiden name. So my great-granddad was at a South Africa, he was a Springbok rugby player.
Right.
He came over to play in the English League because it was a bit of a retirement league compared to what it was like in SA.
Yeah.
So he came over, and obviously the climate and the lifestyle was so amazing, he stayed. And then my granddad turned up. He had 3 daughters, so the name was due just to disappear.
It's a cool name, Nate, isn't it?
It is cool.
But do you still use it? Because I think I just see VR everywhere.
Nobody can say it is half the problem.
Right.
So we shortened it down a little bit. People try and Google it. You know what it's like. People try and Google you and they're struggling. So sort of VR is what we went with. I think the big red VR, people started to recognise them. We've been around for a bit, but people started to go, oh, I know who they are.
How long have you been around for?
I set up in 2011, so quick maths, what's that, 12 years, 11 years, so it doesn't feel like that long.
I know we talked about the council estate thing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I'm from Padgate, which, I mean, it's not the worst place in the world, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the best place in the world. I went to Longbarn County Primary School, which is now a naughty boys school, or naughty person school. And then I went to Padgate High School, which again is a bit of a melting pot, and I think I wouldn't have had it any other way, but I learned my street smarts and how to deal with
What were you like?
What was I like in school?
Yeah.
I was a little shit.
Yeah.
But I learned, I was able to communicate my way out of a lot of problems. So if a teacher didn't like me, I could probably work my way around that.
Like charm your way out of
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And I think I learned very, very early doors that the way to get out of trouble is to get on with people and try and build relationships. So even if I had a teacher who really, really didn't like me, and there was a few, probably more than a few, who thought I was an arrogant, cocky, horrible little knobhead, and they weren't wrong. I think I was able to sort of find a middle ground with them pretty quickly, which... looking back is obviously why I've ended up doing what I'm doing.
Did you have loads of mates here at school?
I had quite a good social circle.
Like close mates?
I wasn't a best friend type of guy. Yeah. I had a lot of friends. I think, and this is probably me being again that arrogant little knobhead. I think I always felt a little bit like I wasn't quite like everyone else. I think that, that messiah complex of thinking you're the most important person in the world.
Was it that, or you just thought you were different? What was the... Back then you thought, I'm fucking better than most people.
Yeah, I think... I wouldn't use the word better. I just thought I just wasn't wired up quite the same way. And I don't know. I don't really know why. I mean, when I was in primary school, I was supposed to be tested for autism and ADHD and all the stuff that sort of every day now everyone sort of ends up with that moniker or that label. Everyone's got it, and some people use it as a weapon, some people use it as I can't do this because this is what's wrong with me. And I was supposed to have a test and I was about 9 or 10 and I ran off for like a day, gone. I was like, I'm not doing that, because I thought I was going to get put into some sort of
like special school.
Because rightly or wrongly, and I might be wrong, but back in the day, I think that's what happened, depending on what. And I was really worried, thinking I'm going to be took out of primary school. I'm going to be put into this this place, and I don't want that to happen. So I just got off. I was like, I'm not doing it. Rewind a few months ago, I actually went for a ADHD test, and it was like, oh yeah, that's exactly the person you are. That's just, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But whether that'd have helped me when I was a kid, I don't think it would have done. I'd have probably just ended up with a I don't know, like an assistance teacher who I'd have worked my way around and just sat there, and stuff I didn't want to do, I'd go, I can't do that.
So have you had the ADHD test, have you?
Yeah, done. Yeah, like I've got...
What did they say to you? You've got to have medication, or they just said, look, how have you felt after they've said, look, you have got it?
It was a little bit like, well, I already knew that.
Yeah.
They put this flow chart in front of me, and it was like behaviours of stuff that you do that somebody who's got ADHD has got. And I looked at the flow chart, and before the guy, who was brilliant, before the guy even said anything to me, I was like, have you just written that? Is that just been written about me? Again, messiah complex, the whole world revolves around MJR. And I was like, wow, I was like, that's mad, because that's just me. And he was like, everyone says that. I was like, oh. Okay. I was a little bit disappointed, but it genuinely you know, I was reading all these traits and all these habits and all these things and all.
What kind of things, Matt? What were on? What were on there?
From little stuff to, you know, if you're interested in something, you can absolutely dial in and whoosh, away you go, and like there's nothing that'll get in your way. To if you're not interested in something, putting it off. I don't really want to do that paperwork, or I don't really want to do that, whatever it might be. That's not for me. I'm not interested in it. I'll take it out of my world and I'll put it in the bin, and that'll be me. And I just thought that's the way everybody was.
Yeah.
But it's not. Some people will sit there and they'll fill out the tax return, or they'll fill out, whatever it might, the speeding ticket or the parking fine they've had, and they'll fill. Whereas I was just, or now I've very luckily been able to just go, guys, can you sort that out for me?
Delegate.
I can.
People around.
Yeah, I can sort of pass that stuff on, and I'm quite in the fortunate position where there is stuff that I can just go, guys, can you just look after that, because I won't do it.
Yeah.
And then it'll bite me on the arse at some point in the future. So really, there was that, and there was, do you lose yourself in stuff? Do you find yourself, going, oh, that's a cool picture. Do you find yourself doing that? Do you find the daydreams that you have, do you find them to be really sort of, God, I got completely lost in this.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff on that sort of flowchart, I was just like, well, that's just who I am. And whether that had come up when I was 9, it probably would have done. I just don't know whether it'd have helped me.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks it probably wouldn't have done. It'd have probably made my life easier, in which case I wouldn't be doing this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. What did you do when you left school then? When you'd finished it, what was your thing that you?
So this is the thing. I think this is why. I went literally. I did a year of college. I sort of cruised. I cruised for my GCSEs. I was like, I didn't try at all because I wasn't interested in them. I got okay grades. They weren't dreadful.
Yeah.
They weren't great. It was quite a funny conversation. I remember ringing my dad when I had the results. I rang him up and told him, and his words were, well, "That's a surprise, isn't it?" I was like,
I'll tell that then.
You and me both. That was a surprise, because I was like, these are probably just all going to be fails.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So they weren't particularly fantastic, but they weren't dreadful. They were sort of just in the middle ground. So I was like, well, what do you do now? Well,
did you have an inkling of what you wanted to do?
No idea. I'd done.
What were you into?
So I'd done, and again, this has probably helped me. I quite like drama. I'd done a bit of acty stuff. I'd been extras in a couple of TV shows. Try and find them. Bet you can't. But I'd done a bit of that sort of stuff. I'd done auditions for a couple of bits and bats, which was a decent experience. And I'd done a little bit with. They were an agency back in the day called Euro Kids, which they probably need a rebrand if they're still around. But
did they have a star on it?
Yeah. So they were the guys that I used to sort of get these ad hoc jobs for, and they were like a Pepsi commercial audition to a Harry Potter audition with 1 million people there, and I was like, "What's Harry Potter?" I read a book like my life, and it's sort of everything in between, and it was fun. It was a good laugh, but I genuinely didn't have. When I say I didn't have a clue, like I was just like, so it gets into college, but then college is like quite hard. I was like, this is rubbish. What am I supposed to do here? So I had a couple of part-time jobs. I worked at JJB, which was like like a scummy. JJB, scummy JD. I worked in that. I say worked. Messed about at JJB. It was quite fun. And then I just didn't really know. I worked in a pub. Like I had a couple of little bits and bats.
All in the back of you know that you're different, don't you? There's something. You're destined for something bigger than this.
Yeah, and I think
always clawing at you.
Yeah,
always.
And I was meeting. I was obviously getting more exposed to people that were in the real world. Obviously, when you're in school, you're in this little bubble, aren't you? And everyone's in school, and you've got teachers who followed a very linear path to get to where they are, and then you've got students, and some of them are nuts, and some of them aren't, and some of them are this and that, and and then you get out into the world and you start meeting all these adults, and a lot of disaffected adults who weren't happy and hated the job and hated where they. I remember the managers at the JJB store that I worked at. They were probably like in the middle 30s. Mark was one guy. He was like the most unhappy human being I've ever met in my life. Hated his job, hated everyone that worked for him, hated JJB. And I was like, what are you doing here then?
Yeah.
If you hate it that much, you can do something else. And that was always well, if you don't like it, just do something else. Well, it's not as easy as that, mate. I'm like, what do you mean? Isn't it? Surely you just do what it is that you enjoy doing. I was just working there because I wanted some money, because I never really had any. So I did JJB, worked in a little pub. My older sister and my brother-in-law, they were in the sort of pub job. And I used to sort of Christmases and anytime I was free, I'd go and sort of help out there and earn a few quid, and sort of that was the way it was. And then I reached a little bit of a standpoint because I'd gotten to sort of the end of a year's worth of college and wasn't enjoying it. I just wasn't.
What were you doing at college?
What was I doing? That's a really good question, mate.
Nothing.
What was I doing at college? English literature.
It's random.
Yeah, it was, yeah. English literature. What else did I do? Some design. Like, it was just like, I'll do that and I'll have a crack at that.
So you literally had no fucking...
No, like, when I say no idea,
yeah,
really, like, properly no idea. I was like, I haven't got a clue. So, I guess...
How do you think that is beneficial for kids today? To be all right not knowing what you want to do? Because I think kids are destroying themselves like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with not knowing. I think some of the most interesting people you meet go, well, I sort of ended up doing this and I really liked it and I got good at it, and now look what I've done. And I tend to find and I'm very lucky in the job that I do, I meet a lot of very positive, very entrepreneurial humans, loads of them, and they all have this very similar sort of thing. They've found something that they can do and they're good at and they enjoy and they can apply themselves to, and they've just gone bang. And I think, but whether it's the school system to blame, whether it's social media, whatever, I think kids, well, the teacher said that you're good at this, so what we should look at is going on this course, and then you should do this, and then you go to university, and then you get out of university, and you get that job, and away you go. Yeah. And I think that for some kids that must work. Well, it obviously does work for some people. It certainly didn't.
Yeah,
for
but
me.
Mark at JJB's probably been through that same system. He's miserable as fuck.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I'd part of me would like to know what he's doing now. I mean, I was 16, going on 17 when I worked there, so God knows how old he will be now. But I'd be interested to know what he was doing, whether he actually found something that he enjoyed doing. Who knows? But yeah, I think kids putting all that pressure on, you've got to know what it is that you want to do. I had a guy, a young lad, messaged me on Instagram yesterday saying, "I want to go into business, but I don't know what."
How do you feel about that, messaging you?
I mean, I get it a bit. I don't get loads of them, but I get it a bit. And I always try and make sure that whatever I do tell them is as honest and as accurate as it can be. I think, especially Instagram,
because they're looking at you, they're looking at the flash cars and stuff, and they want that right now.
Of course they are.
They don't know what you've been through to get it.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Maybe in a tiny substrata of people, maybe it does. They started a business and 10 months later, they're doing this, that, and the other. But the amount of business class flights to Dubai and then a hurricane waiting for you at the airport, I see, and I just think it's quite destructive. If you're 17 or 16 and you go, well, that's what I want to do. What do you do? I'm in business. All right, well, I'll do that then, because I want to fly to Dubai business class. And it's like, most of it's bollocks, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think a lot of it's bollocks.
I believe.
My VR sort of Instagram, it's really all I'm just trying to showcase stock. It's not necessarily, I think that this is the problem with Instagram. I think you show, isn't this great? Look at this, isn't this cool? You not sat there going, oh, I've just had a nightmare day, and oh, I've got to pay this, and my credit card bill is this, and oh, this has gone wrong. And you're not doing that. You don't do that on social media. You tell everyone how great everything is, and then if you're looking at it for some sort of guidance, it's bad. It's, you know, I think it's quite unhealthy because it's, you know, it's like you get these fitness guys who are like absolutely shredded, like they're the best looking dude in the world who's like cut to death. He's not putting, oh, by the way, I'm on 10 mil of this, 12 mil of that, and like I'm really unhappy and I hate myself. And he's not saying any of that. He's just going, look at the shape I'm in. And so this kid, he messages me and he's like, you know, I want to get into business. And I messaged him back. I said, look, I'm out at the moment. I said, but I'll drop you a little bit of a video and just go, look, this is what I think. If I was in your position, this is what I'd do. And I always sort of say the same thing. What the younger kids do is they go, I want to come and work for you. I want to come and sell you £500,000 Lamborghini. And I go, do you? Yeah. And they go, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I go, all right, okay, cool. You need to go and learn the job first.
But then when they're saying come and learn from you and come and work in the shop, are they saying?
Yeah, they want to come and work and sell. They want to go straight from, I'm 17 and I don't know my arse.
They don't want to come and mop the floors and wash the cars.
No, they don't want to learn how to sell stuff, learn how to deal with people. They just think that if you know what the 0 to 60 is on a Aventador SVJ, and big shock, I probably don't. I've got an idea, but it's not really as important as they might think it is. They think they can just get in there and you walk in to buy your Lambo and here we go. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And I always say the same thing. If you genuinely want to do this, if you really want to go out and get into cars, get into selling cars and get into selling big cars, go and work at a Dacia dealer. Be brilliant.
Know how to deal with relationships, and connections.
Yeah. And how to deal with a screamer, a customer who's not happy. How to deal with somebody who's super demanding. How to deal with somebody who wants to message you at 10 o'clock at night and go, is my car ready? How to deal with someone who's upset or you know, and everything in between. Because what I try and tell the people that want to know what the job is, I'm like, it's not about cars. It's not. It's about people. That's what our business is. Yeah. It's about being able to deal with other people.
That's what I love about your Instagram, mate. Not VR Supercars, but you know, that's the message that you put out.
I try.
It's mint. Honestly, it's so good, mate.
I appreciate
really
that.
Good, mate.
I think I try and combat a little.
Because there's such a stigma attached to supercars and what's it, but like you're taking that mask off, and it's really cool.
I think the stigma. I mean, I remember when I first got my first car sales job. So when I came out of college and didn't know what to do, my mum, bless her, walked into the front room and was like, "Oh, you're leaving college, are you?" "Yeah, I am." "Okay, go and get a job then." I was like, "Okay, what do I do?" So she opens the midweek Guardian.
What?
Yeah, and oh, there's a car sales job here. You like cars, don't you? I was like, yeah, I like cars. She was like, you can talk to people, can't you? I was like,
this was your journey.
I was like, yeah.
Your mum put it out.
Exactly, and this is the thing. It's like, I think some people expect there was like this shining star one night, and it was like,
you had this mentor that came in and
I did always like cars. I mean, I'm being probably a bit daft there. I did always like cars, and when I was on holiday in Abersock once with my mum and dad, we were in some pub and this guy turned up in a 355 Berlinetta Ferrari. Now in the 1990s, probably 94, 95, you didn't see Ferraris. You just didn't see him. I mean, 10 a penny now, but you didn't see him. And I saw this Ferrari, this car that I had a photograph of on my wall for the first time ever. And it was like I'd seen Jesus. I was like, oh my God. And I was looking at this car like, wow. And then this guy walks back to it. And he's like, do you like this, mate? I was like, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Do you want to sit in it? I was like, yeah, can I? And jumped in it and I was like, oh my God,
was that a really cathartic moment for you?
It's like my Canon event. That was like I did always love cars.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know I was going to work with them to the capacity there was, but I loved I was the car guy with the model cars when I was lining them up in a queue, autistic and ADHD, lining them up in a line and counting them and putting them in colour order and all that sort of stuff. Pretty much what I do now, just with full size ones. And it was just these cars, and I was just like, this is really, really cool, you know. And I always liked them. I just didn't know how to apply working with them.
But there's liking cars and there's loving cars, and you truly love cars.
Yeah.
For you to have that feeling that there's a feeling there for you to sit in that car, because I don't have that.
Yeah.
That's within you.
Yeah, I think
it's almost like you're calling.
It was just
I
was fascinated by them. I didn't necessarily know how they worked, but I just loved them. I thought this is cool. And then obviously cool cars, stuff you used to see in films and all that. I loved them, and I had, like I said, my wall posters when I was a kid it was Ferraris. I'm absolutely Ferrari mad, still am. They were just all over the place. And
where does that come from?
I couldn't. I genuinely couldn't tell you. I just, for whatever reason, I looked at them and I was like, perhaps if I really, really dig into it, and I'm probably going to delve into more stuff in a few days' time, but if I really dig into it, it was probably I wanted to be different and stand out and have a bit of status. That was probably my original. That's why I like it. Because I think that's what supercars on the whole are. I'm different to everybody else. I've worked really hard and I've treated myself to this dream.
Obviously, you've changed that relationship with cars when you were younger to where you are now, or have you? Is it still a kind of like, I'm trying to prove something to people who doubted me?
Yeah, I think that's gone. No, I don't think that's gone. It's quite funny. Whenever I explain what a Lamborghini is, I always go, well, you drive a Lamborghini for everybody else. You drive a Ferrari for you, because they're better to drive. It's controversial, and you'll probably get loads of people going, no, Lamborghinis are amazing. Okay. Lamborghinis I'm a peacock.
Right, okay.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm in central London, or I'm outside the Ivy. I'll park on double yellow lines. I'll have my scissor doors up if it's an Aventador. Look, I'm the coolest thing in the world, and I think you grow out of that. I certainly did grow out of it recently, but I did grow out of it. I remember that. I remember jumping in stuff and being sat at traffic lights. I'm like, I'm the coolest guy ever. Look at me. And you're not, but you think you are. Then you get probably more "you're a knobhead" comments off people, especially in the UK. You get tons of them. But I actually used to quite like that. Yeah. Maybe that says something about me. But ooh, you knobhead. I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah. What colour's your Lamborghini? Do you know what I mean? All that sort of stuff. Yeah. But then I had this exact conversation with a dude yesterday who bought a Ferrari, a limited run Ferrari off me. It was a 200 grand car, lovely thing. And he had been looking at an Aventador, and he's a Ferrari guy. And I said that to him. I said, you do drive a Ferrari for everybody else? And he was like, well, that's not me. I was like, well, car's probably not for you then. He doesn't need to impress anybody, this guy. I mean, he sold his software firm and made a lot of money. He'd done really, really well. And he's like, well, I don't need to impress anyone. Anybody who knows me knows me. So I'm like, well, you wouldn't actually like it to drive, I don't think. And he bought the Ferrari. Click the button, I'll have that. But
you're so honest, mate, aren't you, with what's, because you could potentially, by saying that, lose a sale.
Black and white.
Not saying yes to somebody, yes.
But black and white Rylands have been described. I've stood in a showroom with somebody, quite a well-known somebody, I won't mention his name, but stood at an Aventador going, I want an Aventador, and I've going, I don't think you do. What do you mean? I was like, if I'm driving an Aventador on a Saturday night, which is rare, but if I am, if I go to a petrol station, there'll be a crowd of 30 people stood around me taking photographs of it. I said, and it's a bit of a pain in the arse, if I'm honest. You'll have people chasing you, trying to get photographs of the car, etc., etc. I said, and I'm nobody. You're on the telly. Everybody knows who you are. I don't think that would be I don't think you'd enjoy it. I think it'd do your head in. I said, if you're hungover and you're in your Lamborghini and you get pulled over, or you get I said, you'll end up on the paper. I just don't think it'd be for you. And he actually agreed, even though he was like, that's mental. And he bought, and I know this is a swing, but he bought a 1M BMW, a fast, one of the greatest cars of all time, fast little BMW. And it was still a few quid. And then he bought a load more cars off me, because I think he appreciated that. Because if you go into a Lamborghini dealer, and this is no disrespect to them, but if you go into any car dealer, they'll just tell you that the best thing since sliced bread and everything else is rubbish. That's just not what we're about, really. I think we try and suit up the car to the person, if that makes sense.
It's beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
I think it's the way I'd prefer it. I don't want
You
someone
just want that honest interaction, don't you? And,
But maybe
you're building relationships. What for the future? They're gonna, they're gonna buy a car. They want honesty, don't they?
Yeah, and the guy yesterday was quite funny because he was like, he didn't want to say this because he was quite an understated guy, but it was on the tip of his tongue. Like, I could buy both of these, and whether it's stupid for me to sort of go, I don't think that car's for you, or whether that made the deal on the Ferrari a lot easier because he instantly built that trust. Like, well, this guy, he's not just trying to just get my wallet out. I think he was like, yeah, sound, and I'll buy the car, and I won't negotiate any discount because I want to deal with these people. And I think it was sort of a win-win for all of us. He's bought personally one of the greatest cars. Like, it's amazing, absolutely love it to death. And he'll love it. He'll love it. Because it's Ferrari guy, proper. It's cool.
Do you still get that same feeling when you were little, when you first got in that Ferrari now today?
Yeah. And I don't even need to be driving them. Sometimes if I'm having a bit of a day and stuff's gone wrong and you've had problems, I'll just go in the showroom and have a bit of a wander about. If usually on the phone, I can't sit on my phone. I have to wander around. So I'll be like a little pigeon, and I'll be going around the cars and I'll be going, look at that one.
Like you'd line up all them box things again.
Yeah, when I say I line them up, it's exactly the same thing. Line them up in colour order and make them all straight and put them on an angle and then try them like this and then try them like that. And that's sort of, I've never stopped doing it. That might be really sad. Martin's not progressed at all. He's doing what he did when he was 9.
That is so good, mate. That is so good.
But yeah, I think something I've said to customers quite a bit, the day that I stop loving the stuff, I'll have to go and do something else.
Yeah.
Because if I don't love them, if I'm just there, and I've had friends who've been in the car job and it's just about the commission, it's just about the money, you can't stick it out. Yeah. You can't, over time.
Yeah, money's just a result of what you're doing, isn't it? Not why you're doing it.
Of course it is. And it's never really, this also sounds mental, it's never really bothered me, money, really. I don't think it defines who you are. It certainly doesn't define who you are. I think if it does define who you are,
you're in trouble.
I think you'd be abrasive and nobody will like you, really. So
how did you get from your mum in the Guardian go for a car sale to
this?
Yeah.
So I rang.
Who was it?
It was Drive Direct, which don't exist anymore, but it's Drive Direct. It was a Rover and a Nissan franchise. Started off glam. And I rang up. I was incredibly nervous on the phone because I'd never really rang anywhere or done anything because I was 17. I was like a child. I'd had my driving license for like 3.5 weeks. I was driving my mum's Peugeot 205 in Burgundy. Beautiful machine. Beautiful. And I rang this receptionist, Lillian. Gets through to, she had the best telephone voice you've ever heard in your life. And I rang her. I was like, "Hi, I'm just calling about the job that you've got advertised in the Midweek Guardian." She was like, "All right, let me take some details off you." And she said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 17." She went, "Oh, you're too young." I went, "Oh, okay, no worries." She went, "I'll just go and ask the sales director. Let me take your phone number, and if he wants to speak to you, then he'll speak to you." And I went, "All right, cool." Put the phone down. Yeah. "Mom, I'm too young. I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm probably gonna have to go and be an international movie star or a spy or I don't know, or one of those things."
Yeah. You have your own cult.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, it's gonna be one of those things. And anyway, 5-10 minutes later, the phone rings again, and it was Lillian, and she's like, "Paul would like to see you tomorrow for an interview." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Put the phone down. "Mum, do you want to interview me tomorrow?" She was like, "Oh, you've not got a suit or anything?" I was like, "I've not." So we went to Cheshire Oaks. Honestly, this is exactly what happened. And I bought like a cream, like a beigey cream.
Why did you go for that?
Because I'm a fashion icon. I've only learned how to dress in the last like 8 months. Honestly, I bought a cream.
The suits you could have bought.
Oh, it was dreadful. It was really, really bad. Do you remember Pierre Cardin?
Yes.
Yeah? So it was a beigey, creamy Pierre Cardin
I always got boxer shorts for Christmas off me.
Oh, yeah. So it was pretty dreadful. And I was like about 8.5 stone, 6 foot, 6'3", the same height. And I was like that because I'd never lifted up a weight in my life or trained. I'd done nothing.
In a fucking beige suit.
Walked in, sits down, gets into reception to this little car dealer on the side of the road of the A49 in Warrington. I say little car dealer, they were part of a group, and Drive Direct at the time was it was a good business, and they were doing a lot. They were selling a lot of stuff. The motor trade's changed like so much since then. But anyway, so I sits down in the service reception, and it was like a U-shape sort of big sofa. The reception desk with lovely Lillian with her amazing phone voice up at the top, and the service reception guys and the parts department and all this sort of stuff. And I was sat in between two men, like proper men. Yeah. Do you like men who like go to the pub and watch the football? Yeah. I mean, I've never been in a pub. I've never been in a pub in my life. I'm working on. I'm in a beige suit.
Does it look like your bouncers?
I've got spots. Like I've got the worst spots. I've got probably the worst haircut known to humanity. I'd have looked hilarious if I got a photograph. There is some photographs of me knocking around actually from when I was at Drive Direct, and they're terrible. In fact, I'll get you one. I think it's on Instagram somewhere. It's awful. Anyway, so they give me this application form to fill out, or like your job history, and I'm in between these two dudes, and these dudes are writing like War and Peace, with pens, and I'm like,
what are you, JJB pub?
Yeah, school, JJB, pub. Literally wrote it that, and then just went, I'll just put that down on the desk, shall I? Because I haven't done anything or been anywhere. I've not really ever been on many holidays. I've not seen anything in the world.
Please get me this picture.
I'm just this little greasy, little skinny knobhead who doesn't know anything about a thing.
In a beige.
Not a clue. And then Paul comes out. He was the sales director, and he picks up my application form, and I'll never ever forget these words. He said to me in front of these other guys, "This is going to be short and sweet, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." And he takes me in and he sits me down, and he was like, "Right, this is what Drive Direct is. We've got a sales process, which is based on a system which is in the States, and that's what we use, and it's a script." And I went, "Oh, a script, Paul? I did drama and stuff. Like I've done a bit of acting." And he went, "Do you reckon you could learn that?" And it was this script. I say script. It was like 3-4 pages. It wasn't like that in depth. Yeah, I could learn that easy, mate. Yeah, dead sound. He was like, "Okay, cool. Well, I'll give you a go." And I went, "All right." And I walked out. I'd been in there for about 15 minutes. Got him a little Peugeot. Drove back home. I was like, "Yeah, I've got the job. I've got to train in Barnsley, of all places. I've got to go and do my sales training in Barnsley." Goes to Barnsley. Does a load of role play, which all these men were so uncomfortable and couldn't do it. Yeah. And they were all like, "Oh, I don't want to." I'm role play, and I was like, "This is." And I think because I was so fresh, it was like. It was just easy. I didn't have any hang-ups. I wasn't like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." I'm not doing it. Whereas all these guys were really struggling, and I literally took to it like a duck to water. I was like, "This is the easiest thing in the world." And Mick Bolton was a guy who trained me. He's still in the job now. I actually messaged him quite a few years ago just to sort of thank him, to say, you gave me some tools to turn my life around, and this is what I've made with them.
Is this like one of the first mentors in your life?
First. In terms of the job, he was the first guy, because he was ex-military. He was dead tall. He had this dead nice suit, not a PR card, then brown suit. He had this dead nice suit, and he was immaculately well presented. These ex-military guys are like chest out, and he was commanding, and he was telling everybody what the score was and how sales was, and I just listened. I was so intently listening to what he was saying.
What was it that you took like a duck to walk with it? What was it?
Just learning.
Because otherwise at school, you're out fucking window. Yeah. What was it?
It was just this. It was just this quite. It was a sales process. Do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, then do that, and you'll earn money at the end of it. It was like, oh, that's cool. It's like I'm getting to do the sort of the salesy, the script stuff. I'm getting to speak to people. I've always been quite good at dealing with loads of different types of people, and sort of, it sounds terrible, but sort of getting my own way and getting to the point where I can not so much win the conversation, but I can sort of go, well, this is the outcome that
you can influence the conversation.
Yeah, this is the outcome that I'm after. Can I get to that point? Yeah, I probably can. right, let's do it. So I got this script and I was just like, this is like, and I was going, this is dead easy. This is like dead easy.
Really mad, that.
This is the easiest job. Who's made this job? And then my first day, gets on there my first day, and I had 2 sales managers, both cool guys. Speak to one of them still now, and then I had a business manager who's now one of my business partners, who I love to death. He's like my brother.
Really?
Yeah, Rob. So Rob, who sits next to me, was my business manager. So Rob was my finance. I'll go and get the business manager and we'll look at some finance figures. That was Rob.
Right.
Rob, a 20-odd-year-old, arrogant little shit with his Prada shoes on. I thought he was like a hero. Like this guy knows like the codes to the Matrix. He's driving around in the best company car, and wow, I'm like what a dude. Gets there on the first day and it's like, right, there's customers on the pitch. Go and speak to him. I'm like, okay,
no problem.
Hello.
Not even a fucking twitch.
I could, and I'm not going to do it now, but I could recite to you that sales process.
Is that the way your brain's made up?
Yeah,
You've got
it's
that.
in. Yeah, it's in.
Just lots.
If I remember, like I can, like Terminator 2, I could write the script for it. I just remember stuff. Bit weird.
Without the script.
Yeah, so I got that script in my head. It's still in there now. Still.
Yeah.
I still use some of it.
Right.
Mainly because it's cool. Like I remember the first time I sold £1 million car, I used the drive direct close because I thought I was paying respect to what had happened. So yeah, I started just flowing through this script with these customers, and it was just dead. It was just really easy. I found it dead easy. People would buy stuff at the end of it, and I remember seeing all these other guys like struggling and having a bad time. They had mortgages and kids and stress, and I was like, "This is a piece of piss. What's wrong with you? It's dead easy." And we worked from like, I think it was like 8:30 in the morning. We used to have to get 8 o'clock in the morning for a sales meeting. We worked till like 7 o'clock at night every day. We used to get one day off in the week.
Fuck me.
But talk about grounding.
Oh bloody hell! It's about hard work and like learning your craft.
So I'm going, well, this is
Learning
just work.
Yeah.
I've done college and school, and this is just what work is. Get treated like a piece of shit if you don't hit your target. Get shouted and bollocked. Well, that is what it is. And you've just got to do what you've got to do until this time, and then you go home. I was like, all right, Sam. Well, this is what a job is. I'll just do that for a bit. And
How do you work under pressure? Do you thrive on fear?
Yeah.
You need that, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's part of my ADHD. If I'm aimless, I'm bored. If I'm under pressure, I'm not. I get my hyper focus down, and
when your back's against the wall,
stuff happens.
That's when you
put me in a corner.
Come alive,
like. Put me in a corner, and that's when I'm probably at my greatest.
Yeah.
And like the lads in the office currently, we've got Rylands time. So at the end of the month, if we're a couple of deals away from target, it's like,
okay,
Martin, watch this, and I'll just go, right, here we go. And I just learned, it was a really, really good grounding. It was a very harsh place to work.
This is what you talk about when people are Instagram DMing you. Yeah. Learn your craft, get in the dirt.
99.99% of them wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't. Because it was just...
what you're looking at there, you're looking at fucking failure, people saying no to you, getting knocked back every what's it. Yeah. It's like, have you got that resilience within you too?
Correct. I'd walk out to a customer and go, hello, welcome to Drive Direct, my name's Martin and you are. Put my hand out, shake, and some customers would go, go away, I'm just looking. And you'd have to just go, okay. Go back. There's another customer in, and you can't let that then hurt your confidence to hit
it's
the same...
It's not personal, is it?
No, it's you've got to go and speak to the next customer in exactly the same manner. Because if you let those little chips get away at you, by the end of the day, I'll walk out to you on a forecourt and go, hey mate, do you want help? And you'll go, no. And I'll go, all right. Another knobhead. It's like that's a self-fulfilling circle. I think there's nowhere else you'd learn to, you genuinely get out of it what you put into it than doing that. Because your whole attitude makes that experience. If you go out with a bad attitude, the customer will have a bad attitude. They'll mirror you. And then if you get someone who is hard work, there is no better feeling than when they bought a car for you at the end of it and they shake your hand. And then they say, do you know I didn't come here to buy anything today? And you go, didn't you? No. Done my job then, haven't I? thanks very much, and off they go. And that I won, and it was never about this, but I won Salesman of the Year in like my first year.
Wow.
In the whole business, and I got took to Barnsley, like Monaco, for a night out with the owners of the company, for a meal with the Otleys, Alan Otley and Dave Smith, into this Michelin star restaurant. Again, I'm 17. I was like, what's a restaurant? This is cool. And I remember getting to Barnsley, and we were walking out to get into the managing director's car, Alan, big character, and he had a full-size petrol Range Rover on like an 03 plate, when an 03 plate was new, 2003. Probably worth about 50 quid now, but at the time it was like the car. I'd never been anywhere near something like that. And I was with my sales manager, Paul, and we went to get in the car, and I just get straight in the front because I'm going to get in the back. It's about me. Gets in the front, shuts the door. My sales manager gets in behind me, and Alan turns to Martin and goes, "Got a set of bollocks on you, aren't you, son?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm here, isn't it?" At the time, massively arrogant. Like I was just like, "Yeah."
Like ego-driven.
Yeah, you had to be, I think to survive that place, you had to be. Because otherwise you would, if you didn't think you were the greatest thing since sliced bread, you wouldn't be able to do the job just because of the hours and the pressure. You just wouldn't. And some of the stuff that we did in that place is the reason why the FCA exists today. And some of the stuff that we did, just from a sales perspective, was crazy.
Brutal.
Like just mad. We lost the Nissan franchise. Nissan decided to go somewhere else. This is absolutely true, by the way. This is not one of these things you see on a podcast and people have said, and that never happened. Genuinely, like. So the new Micra was coming out. Old Micra now, but the new Micra, and it was completely different to what Nissan. I knew we'd get onto boring cars. I apologise, I'll be as quick as I can. So this new Micra comes out, and we weren't getting it because we no longer had the Nissan franchise. So we had ex-demonstrators and pre-registered old shape Micras. We didn't have the new ones. And there was loads of Micra customers coming in going, "Hi, I've come for a brochure. I've come to look at the new Micra." We didn't have it. And Grant McEwen, who was my dealer principal, who is the biggest ball of energy you've ever met. He's got a property business now and he's flying. He's cool. Love Grant. He was like, "We need to find a way of getting these people to still buy cars off us because they're still walking in here. So what do we do?" So one afternoon, a couple of 60, 70-year-old people walk in to look at a Micra. We've got a new Micra. No, we've not got them. "Oh, right, why is that?" We're not actually doing the new Micras anymore." "Oh, right. Well, we really wanted to see one." So they're not that great. They're not like the old one. The old one's better. Because this is what we had to do then.
Oh, mate.
Right?
Yeah.
It gets worse or better, whichever way you look at it. Grant, I goes into the sales office. I'm like, these people really want to see this new Micra, Grant. They're not gonna buy a car unless they see this new Micra. They've got to see it. Why don't I take them, me, in my company car, to the new Nissan dealer, which is an Arnold Clark dealer down the road? I'll take them, and I'll show them the car and show them it's rubbish, and then I'll bring them back here, and I'll sell them an old one. Yeah, should we do that? Got these people in my car. I drove them to Arnold Clark Nissan in my, probably wasn't my PR card and suit, in a rubbish suit. Walked in, 18, with these two customers in tow, with my driver's right name badge on, which I've still got. Walked in. This is the new Micra. "Oh yeah, it's not like the old one, is it?" "No, it's not." "I've seen they've done this and they've done that and they've done this and they've done that." And all the sales team, I can like hyenas starting to go, "Who the fuck is this guy? He doesn't work here, but he looks like he works here. But he's showing the customer a car. Who is it?" So I'm showing these customers around this car, and they're going, "Yeah, oh, actually, I don't like the back of it, and I'm not so sure." One of these salesmen comes over, "Excuse me, mate, have you got a minute?" I was like, yeah, of course. Goes into the sales manager's office. The sales manager's like, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Martin from Drive Direct." "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm showing the customers a new Micra." Bold as brass.
Honestly.
Bold as brass. Like, stood there like that. Like, there's no problem with this. What's wrong? Honestly, and they were this sales manager. I think he was for a minute.
Because you were that confident, it was just like...
Yeah. Well, what the customer wants to see it, so I brought him to see it, and they don't like it, and I'm showing them why they shouldn't like it, and why they should buy not this. And he starts like trying to boll at me, and I'm like, mate, it doesn't work for you. Shut up. I'm with my customer. I'll see you in a bit. Walked out, dealt with the customer, took him back to Drive Direct, and sold him a demo. Sold him a 52 plate Micro Tempest, which was like what my company car was at the time. Purple one, lovely, with a windy sunroof. And they bought the car, and at the time, I was just like, this is just dead normal. I wouldn't have even told me mates about it, and I'd just gone, is what it is. But now I look back at it, I think, wow, like that was proper ballsy, or stupid. It was probably stupid, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't asked. As long as I could get a deal done, you know, and I could get, and this is probably where it started. I could give the customer what it is they actually wanted. They wanted to see a new Micro. They were a bit like that themselves. I hadn't completely steered them away from it because it was a big design difference from the old one. And so I showed them. They wanted to see it. I showed them, and then they bought one off me. Well, there you go. And save some money, you know. If you saved probably 4 or 5 grand, they didn't buy themselves a brand new one. And I know it's
You're just making it all
mad.
right to do it now.
It's mad though, isn't it? I mean,
It's
that is
fucking
something.
crazy,
That is
man.
something that happened when I was 18, and then from there, literally, all I did was I went from Nissan Rover. The Nissan dealer ended up getting taken away and turned into a Kia dealer when Kia first came into the UK. Then I moved to Honda because Rob, my business manager mate, he was my boss at the time, and then he turned into one of my close, like I say, he's my brother. He went to Honda. He wanted to get me to Honda.
Yeah.
I got to Honda. I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's much better product. And the sales manager at Honda was a little bit spiky, and I didn't, and not down to him. I think we just clashed a little bit. We didn't really see eye to eye with one another.
Yeah.
And I'd sold a couple of cars to our local BMW dealer, Halliwell Jones, and I'd gotten on quite well with the sort of sales manager over there. He was actually over at Mini, and I'd sold him a Mini. It'd come in part exchange at Honda, and he was like, you know, if ever you decide you want to come to like the big leagues, you want to come over to BMW Mini, give me a shout. And then a few weeks later, I had a falling out with my sales manager and made the call, rang Ben. I was like, that job you were talking about, he's like, it's actually not Mini, because I was 20, I was at that point, I was only like 2021, I was still a kid. But I'd been in the job for quite a while at that point, and I was good at it. And I got a phone call off a guy called Tony Price, who ended up being he was the dealer principal at Halliwell Jones, and is a superstar. He's amazing, probably the best manager I've ever worked for. And interviewed me, said he was going to call me on like the Monday, and the interview was on the Friday, didn't. So, me being me, can I speak to Tony, please? Oh, he's not available. Half an hour later.
Did he put you through test here?
I rang. Yeah, he was, of course he was. I must have rang about 6 times, got through to reception. Is Tony free yet? I have told him you've called, Martin. I was like, oh, okay. He's still not rang me back. It's like 10 minutes. Why is he not ringing me back? Everyone wants to employ me. Everywhere I've ever been, I've just got the job like straight away. So why don't they want me? Can I speak to Tony Price? And I finally got through to him. And Tony said, if you follow up your customers like you follow me up, you're going to absolutely smash it here. When can you start? And that was the start, effectively, of VR when I got to BMW.
What do you mean by that?
Totally different customer base. It was very different.
Did you have to let go of the ego and stuff like that?
Yep.
Why is that?
Because the customers were switched on.
Okay.
They could see through it fast.
The bravado,
Yeah, and they wouldn't deal with you. If you were an arrogant little knobhead and they wanted to buy a 7 Series and you were a company director, you ain't going to deal with the little knobhead. You need somebody who knows the job, does the job well, and can get on with you.
How did you change yourself into that?
I worked
Was it
out,
easy or was it?
It took me a little bit of time. I won't lie, it probably took me a couple of years to really get to grips with it,
Because you're going to build up sort of Martin's character and integrity and this kind of thing.
It was more the fact that I learned that you have to be a bit of a chameleon. And that's why I always say that Halliwell Jones job, that's what got me into doing what I'm doing now, because I learned that if you deal with customers in exactly the same way with a script, it'll work on some of them, but it won't work on everyone.
Yeah.
So, and the beauty with BMW as a product, and I love a BMW, the beauty with BMW is, because they've got such a big range, the range attracts a range of customers.
Yeah.
So you've got a 1 Series, which will get bought by, and I don't want to stereotype, but will get bought by a youngish, aspirational kid, male or female or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you've got a 7 Series, which can sometimes be a limo. And then you've got all your M Division cars, which are bought by my supercar guys that as their dailies. They'll, someone will come and buy an M4, probably M3s at the time, M3s and M5s, and they've got a Ferrari or a Lambo, and I'm like, oh, you've got a Ferrari? Yeah, I bought it new. Have you? You're, wow, how? And I was always more interested in the owners of businesses than my manager. I was very respectful with managers, and they had the job to do, but I was always really interested in Alan Otley, Drive Direct, Philip Jones, Halliwell Jones. And I always used to look at them and go, what is it that they've got that I could do? Because they're only people.
Yeah.
They've obviously done something. What is it they've done? You need to try and speak to them, not like in a brown nosing sort of way, and be like the best mate. You just need to find out what they've done and how they've done it. How have you done this?
And what was that thing that you could see?
But it's, again, I mean, in the car job, I think especially, you have to be a bit of a character. I think if you've not got any character, I think you'd struggle. But just not frightened to take a risk because ultimately, when you're buying any car, whether you sell Nissan Micras for £1,000 now or 500 quid, or whether I'm buying a McLaren for £1 million, you're gambling. You're using your knowledge that you've got in the job and your confidence in yourself that you know what you're doing, but it is a gamble. You can buy a car and nobody might want to buy it, in which case you have it in stock for ages and you discount, and then you blow your brains out and you end up losing a load of money. And you either learn from that or you don't. Or you go, right, I know what I'm doing. Is someone going to want this car if it's beige ordered? And it's all about taking like a measured risk, which ultimately is what business is.
Can you give me an example of a risk, like one of the biggest risks that you've done buying a car and it's kind of sort of like worked out?
My Senna, I bought a McLaren, probably at the VR was doing well, it was pumping, and I was absolutely loving it. And I had a regular client who wanted a McLaren Senna. These were £1 million, couldn't get them. A guy I'd dealt with quite a lot. This is the car that I want. All right, cool. Let's do it. Does a deal, sources a car, finds the car at a dealer down in London from some guys that I still deal with today. Broke us the purchase price, broke us the sale price. Right, we're good to go. It's a good deal. Makes a few quid. Let's go. And it's £1 million car.
No risk in it. Per se, you think it's just a done deal?
Didn't think there was any risk to it. Yeah.
Right.
So gets it, does the deal, goes down, drives down with a mentor who unfortunately passed away, Pete, who and the Stapleford family. They're just amazing people, and Pete was a big inspiration to me. Pete had started a haulage firm with a Tesco bank loan, and now has got like this massive business.
Yes.
And his son and his daughter run it.
Yeah.
And they're just the most down to earth. Like, if you said to Pete, "What do you do for a job?" He'd go, "I'm a lorry driver." And he is a lorry driver, or he was a lorry driver, but he would also be someone who'd go and buy a McLaren for 300 grand, do this, or get a Ferrari, or whatever. He was just a cool guy. I loved him, absolutely loved him to death. So I went down with Pete to pick this Senna up in my little shirt, because again, I didn't know how to dress. My jeans all pulled up and a big belt on, looked like Jeremy Clarkson. Buys this car for close to £1 million. I've sold it for slightly over £1 million. Gets the car, puts it in the showroom the night of our Christmas do. Goes out on the Christmas do with the team. I'm a hero. I bought £1 million car. Look, I'm cool. It's all over my Instagram. Look at this McLaren Senna, and deal falls through. I've got it and paid for it. Oh. So I'm having meetings with my investors. Go in, and they're going, "What are you going to do about this car?" I'm going, "Well, I'm just going to sell it to somebody else." That car dealer mentality, well, somebody will buy it. Because it's, whether you've bought...
Did you have a moment of fuck at any point?
I'd be
or
lying. I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
But did you quickly get over that?
Because
the way you are?
I had to break it down. I had to just go, is this any different to buying 10 grand cars or 20 or, you know, £2,500,000 cars or stocking? Is it any different to buying filling your showroom with stock and hoping somebody buys them? It's just because it's just one car. So it's a bit of a spotlight, and it's like you just have to sell it to somebody else. That's it.
Back to the wall, fucking right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right sound.
And it got to the point where, like, everybody that I knew and everybody that I spoke to and dealt with would go, sold Senia, sold Senia, sold Senia, sold Senia, sold Senia. Yeah, not yet, but I'll sell it. Don't worry, I'll sell it. Don't worry, I'll sell it. And I was fully swanning it.
Yeah.
You know, on the top, I was like, yeah, no problem. Underneath, I was like, oh my God, what we're going to do? What we're going to do? Because everyone wants to know what's happening with this car.
Yeah.
And it was marketed everywhere. It was the right price. It was the right spec. It had done 200 miles. Car was right.
When are you marketing something like that? What are you?
Auto Trader and on your socials, and that's pretty much it. Believe it or not, the Auto Trader, as much as necessarily evil they are, because they're a fortune, they're a necessary evil, and there's a good platform. They're our right move.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to go and buy a car this afternoon, the chances are you'd look on the Auto Trader.
Yeah.
Cars advertised, let's go. And believe it or not, a regular client, somebody I've dealt with before who knows us and knows the brand and knows who we are and knows that we're straight and we do a good job, just walks in and goes, I fancy one of them, would you take a couple of part exchanges? And I went, yeah, I would. What are my part exchanges worth? Well, this one's worth this one's worth that. Now, my business partner and initial sort of angel investor, Steve, big shout out to Steve, who's an absolute legend. And like, look, again, he's like family to me. He's family to me. He was like, look, he doesn't really know cars, but he knows business, and he's gone, look, if we structure the deal like this with these two part exchanges, we sat down together to make it attractive, we'll do you a bit of a deal because we do need to move the car on. This is what we do with part exchanges, this is what we do with the Senna. Should we do a deal? And then I remember going down, he was pretty much at the point where he wanted to buy it. Him and his wife were sat in our handover room downstairs, and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to use me drive direct close because it's cool. Do you like the car? Yeah. Do you like it enough to buy it? Yeah, I do. If you can get the figures agreeable, would you buy the car now? Yeah, I would. Right, this is what I can do. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's do it. Done. Sold. Drove the car away a couple of weeks later. Happy as Larry. And I was like, told you everyone. But I learned an awful lot. Like whenever you brokering these really, really big deals, you know, there's certain stuff that I do now that I didn't do then that I would always do going forward. And yeah, like I said, in terms of a gamble, that was a gamble, a big gamble. It paid off. It could have equally have not paid off, but luckily for us it did. And it got us a lot of attention. You know, the car was...
Yeah, it almost give you that, putting VR on the map that you got this McLaren, and it was very early on in the sort of VR.
No, it wasn't that early on. I mean, it was what year were we talking? 2018, 2019. So we've been going for a bit. And I remember I used to do this thing where I used to stand, if I'd done a big deal and I was taking a deposit over the phone, I'd stand on the desk. I'd just be up on the desk doing the deposit. I remember I'd gotten to that point where he was due to come in. We'd although you use the close, we'd semi-agreed the deal before he got here, and I was stood on the desk and everyone was like, and then I came back upstairs after I'd done the deal, got back up on the desk and stood on the desk. Like, check me out. And the team were playing A Milli, do you know, by Lil Wayne. A Milli, because it's a £1 million car. And I was like, yeah, good day. It was cool. And it, you know, like I said, I learned a lot. I've probably got...
Did you ever like sit down and kind of like analyse that moment of what just went on?
I'll do it when I probably retire or I sell the business.
Will you?
Because it's all I've really done there is my job. I've bought a car for one amount and I've sold it for another amount, and the difference in between is what runs the business. I've not done anything different as if I was selling a Nissan Micra for $5,995 or a McLaren Senna for over £1 million.
Great way to looking at things, mate, and
But
to
it's
keep
the
you
same job,
grounded.
innit?
Yeah, but it keeps you grounded, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Not many people do that. They're off with fucking like, oh my fucking god, I'm about to lose my family, my fucking dog's gonna die, and now I'm dead.
Yeah, and I think there's people in our space, in our market. There's people, and I won't name any names, but I think there's people that sell bigger stuff that have completely lost.
To be honest, mate, because you've come from nothing,
Yeah.
and you could make most decisions from a sort of like scarcity mindset because you've not, you know what it means not to have any money.
Yeah.
Couldn't you?
Yeah.
But you still have got this way of like breaking it all down to look. It could be just how many micros or two car.
It's just the job. That's just. I mean, I might sound like I'm being blasé about it, you know, and to some people that might be like, God, he's nuts. You're not in touch with reality, but it's just the job. You know, the Ferrari that I sold yesterday was a part exchange against the Rolls Royce. I mean, the Rolls Royce was a big, expensive car, and this Ferrari came in swap. And Rob, my business partner, we work with every single day. We run the business together. Rob's the yin to my yang. We're like I said, he's my brother, and I love him to death. But he's much more risk averse than I am. So when I'm bringing a Ferrari in part exchange against a Rolls Royce, I'm just like, oh, well, this is the car. This is where I see it in the market. And I see Rob going, all the pitfalls, what if it goes wrong?
Yeah, this could send us under this.
Yeah,
this
but
deal.
I'm like, but this is the space that we're in. This is the job that we do. So I'll sell the car.
Yeah.
And I did sell it. The first time that I sold it, it cancelled. The deal fell out of bed. It cancelled. We couldn't get the finance for it. And Rob's like, if he had any hair to tear out, he'd tear it out.
Shout to Rob.
Yeah, like Rob, like he would be like, oh, you know. And I'm going, and again, I'm probably swanning it a bit because deep down inside, I'm thinking, fuck, if this does go wrong, this is a problem because it's a nice big deal that gets us to the point where we need to be at. And I'm going, I'll just let somebody else, Rob. It's just a car. It's just like selling whatever, a Rover. It's a car.
Yeah.
We market it right. We advertise it. We photograph it. We write it up properly. We make sure that our online presence is good and people know who we are and know who they're dealing with. And we go, this is the car. This is its spec. This is the advert. This is a video. Do you want to buy it? Some guy's seen that, checked us out and gone, yeah, I do. And I quite like to deal with these guys. These are cool. I'll deal with them. And he did. And he came in yesterday and he put a deposit. And Rob got a massive big cuddle off him because he was made up because it hit a target that we needed to hit. But I'm like, I've just done my job. That's just my job. And it's like, you wouldn't give the postman a hug if he'd brought you posted your letter through the letterbox, would you? You just go, he's just done what he's here to. That's what I'm here to do. Yeah. I am there to sell the bigger stuff, the stuff that's over like 70 grand. That's my bit. That's what I look after. And the market's hard work at the moment because interest rates are where they are. But I just do it.
What does success look like to you, Martin? What is
it's not money. Like it never has been money for me.
Because for me and like, you know, other people and stuff like that, you're a successful businessman. I just wondered what success looked like to you. What does that actually mean?
The way I've always tried to look at it, and again, I'm lucky because I get to work with a lot of very successful people in loads of different fields. You know, I'll have a football player and then somebody who owns a factory and then somebody who's an online influencer and then somebody who's on the telly and then a lottery winner and everything in between. And I think if you were to say to me, like, what's success? If I use my business partner, my initial investor, Steve, as a really good example, because Steve's a successful guy. He's ran businesses, sold businesses, and he's involved in a lot of businesses. It's time. His kids were both are both very good sportsmen, a footballer and a golfer. And Jake, amazing golfer. Like I don't really understand golf, but he's dead good at getting it from like hitting it and then having a walk and getting it in. Like he's amazing at that. I can't do it. I'd like smash the clubs up and like be, I don't know. And he's dead good at that stuff. And Steve, let's say Jake, and this had happened, Jake's like in college in the States and he's got a big tournament. Well, Steve can just go and fly over there and be there for a month to support his boy playing golf. Now that is success to me.
Having the choices.
Yeah, he's gone, sorry Jake, I'd love to be there, mate, but I can't get the time off work because Janice in account's off and she won't sign it off. So to me, being able to not do what you want, because you've always got responsibilities. If you run successful businesses, you're responsible usually to a lot of people. But yeah, you saying to Martin, can you come and do you want to come and do this today? Yeah, cool, I'll be there. Whereas if I was, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be able to. You probably wouldn't be as interested in the story anyway. But my sort of top 5% of customers, the guys that we deal with, they can come and see me on yesterday, like, Tuesday or a Wednesday afternoon at 2:00, and they can spend 3 hours buying what they want and having a good time and talking about cars and meeting a like-minded individual and having that's success, because he's not going, I need to get back to
the most precious commodity time.
Yeah, Monday to Friday, I'm going to drive back and I've got to do this. And I think
it's a really nice way of putting that, mate.
It's just really freedom. And I think whether you've sold, and again, I've got customers who've sold businesses for hundreds of millions of pounds, and then guys who've done well and they've got, a couple of million quid. The thing they've both got in common is they can sort of do pretty much what they like to a point. They've still got responsibilities, but if they want to go and fly to Dubai first class and sit down, be there for a month, why not? Can work there if I want, do what I want. And that to me, I think if I get to the point where I'm in my sort of late 40s and 50s and I can go, I'm going to go to the Maldives for a couple of weeks and not look at my phone, I'd say that's pretty successful, I would say.
The big thing about what you said before about you taking your watch off because it's going to go off all the time.
Yeah.
How do you manage stuff like that yourself?
I don't think you can. I think in this current day and age, you have to be constantly contactable.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls that people don't see. I think the trade-off you've got if you are that Monday to Friday guy, which again, there's no disrespect and there's nothing wrong with that, because from a work-life balance, they've got it pinned. They're much better at it than I will ever be. Going home and switching your phone off, right? I'm 100% present, and I think we're getting better at it, but it's tough. If the guy who bought the Ferrari emailed on a Monday night at like 9:45, now I emailed him back like that, because that's what you do when you're in this job. And to that guy, he's like, he's one of us.
I'm in the right place.
He's one of us. Yeah. He's not emailed me back at 9:00 the next day, because I want somebody, if I'm spending a lot of money, I want somebody I can get hold of.
What's to be said about that, mate?
Of course there is. Yeah. Of course there is. So, it's available. Would you like to come and see it? He replies to me like so quickly, I'd like to come and see it tomorrow about 1:30, 2:00. Okay, cool. It's in the diary. Now, the way I always look at it is, if he's emailed 4 dealers, I mean, there was only 5 of these cars for sale, but if he's emailed 4 of them, and 3 of them are main agents, the 3 main agents...
Yeah, they've got a thing at home, and like, they're not messaging back.
They're messaging him as he's on the way to me. It's like, I've won, mate. See you later. I'm on it. And some would go, well, that's really sad. And some would go, well, yeah, that's why you're in front. That's why I'll go to the gym early in the morning rather than late at night, because I'm in front of everybody.
Yeah, me too.
I've got up first. I've won the day. I've got my positive mindset. I'm not gonna go, it's 5:00. I just can't be asked today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. No, I'll get it out of the way and it's done. And I think that's a lot of my company ownery people. That's what I like. Get it done. Like,
how have you got all these amazing people around you? How did you get people to invest in you?
Steve was a customer.
Really?
And I just gave him a really good experience. He bought a Ferrari off me from a BMW dealer. Do it's weird, but we had this Ferrari, which Philip Jones had bought and not used, because he's Philip Jones and he's got all the cars in the world. He's a cool guy. He doesn't need to drive around in a Ferrari to validate himself. He's got, he's living the dream. I had this Ferrari next to my desk. And I was the only person in the whole business who was excited and asked about it, because it's a Ferrari, and look at me, I love Ferraris. And I was like, oh, do you know it can do this? And have you seen that? And all the sales lads, some of which ended up coming and work for me, are all going, oh, man, shut up, nobody cares. And the maddest thing is, the day that Steve came in to buy it, I wasn't supposed to be there. It was my weekend off. And then Mike Cunliffe, who ended up working for me, he's now retired. Mike came to me and was like, Martin, I need to swap weekends with you. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh,
Lynn,
my missus, we're going to a christening. I need it off, mate. She's giving me loads of grief. Can you swap? I was like, go on then, Mike. I'll do you a favour. Go on then. And I'm sat at my desk. The Ferrari was next to my desk because I was obsessed with it. The Ferrari was sat there like that, and I'm sat on Kerridge, it's a little internal DMS system that car dealers use. And this dude comes into my peripheral. He's like, oh, hi there. I'm interested in this. Oh, hello. I'm Martin. Nice to meet you. Oh, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you. Grab a seat. Take some details. Do you want to drive it? No. I was like, but it's like 200 grand. Yeah. I've had them before. It's like, oh. And all that stuff I'd learned about being a chameleon and sort of learning how to deal with people, he was dead laid back. I was like, well, I'll mirror it. I'll be laid back. Let's just be cool about it. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, what is it you do for a job? He's like, oh, I'm in a few different businesses. And I was like, oh, right, okay. Not like, I didn't get like super uber.
That's really you though, isn't it? That
yeah, it is inside.
Like
my
child,
my 10-year-old
yeah,
is
yeah,
like, you know, and I think that does come through at the point, because he did eventually drive it in the end, and he could see how much I absolutely love this thing.
You,
and that's why he bought it, because he was like, I want to deal with somebody who
you want to buy someone who actually loves what they're doing and loves the car.
Someone
don't you?
sat there,
just doing it for money,
looking out the window, thinking, I'll earn $1,000 if I sell this. And not interested in him, not interested in his journey. And I was really interested in his journey, because I was always looking at him, going, well, I want to be doing this at some point. How do I get to this point? And I gave him the same level of customer service that all the people that bought BMWs off me got. They got my mobile phone number, because I ran my little desk like it was a little business on its own, because I'd come from Drive Direct, and I used to work all the hours God sends, and Halliwell Jones, really. You know, you worked one weekend in 3, and it was really quite nice, and you had an early finish and a late start, and I was like, this is really easy. And yeah, I was just like, I gave him the same level as anybody, and he texted me one night out of the blue. I was at my sister's, who lives pretty much around the corner from him. Ferrari won't start. Pretty standard. I was like, all right, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Yeah, I've tried this. Now, Steve won't mind me saying this. Not the most technically minded individual. Like, if something doesn't work, a man comes,
get someone else
sorts it out. So I was like, I said, I'll nip round. Oh no, mate, no, it's like 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday. I'm like, yeah, I'm around the corner, mate. It's fine. No, I'll just nip round. Goes round. Found out that his battery charger, he'd not been putting the battery charger on it right, so the battery had run flat. So I was like, oh yeah, battery's flat. He was like, oh, right, what do we do? I said, you know you're busy. I'll just sort out Ferrari. He's got Ferrari assistance, car was still in warranty. I'll just sort out Ferrari assistance, and I'll sort it out with Ferrari. You gonna do that? I was like, well, yeah. You've spent a load of money with me, and I want to look after you. That's what you do. And then he said to me, what's your plan? I was like, what do you mean? He said, well,
there and then?
Yeah. The same night. He said, I've never had services like this in my life.
Just being looked after?
Never bought loads of cars. Nobody's really ever been that arsed. What's your plan? So it's funny you should ask that, Steve.
Fuck me.
Because actually I've got a bit of an idea for this behind closed doors, boutique, customer centric, passionate car shop. Because main agents have sort of forgotten that you're a number. They'll forget your name the minute you've left the place. Yeah. They're earning the commission. Sales lad or sales girl will be there for a year, 18 months, they'll move on to the next place. There's no continuity of service. It's sort of done that and that over time. I don't think it's getting any better. And I explained that to Steve, and Steve was like, well, yeah, that is a problem. So yeah, there is a little bit of a USP there somewhere. Have you ever done a business plan before? I went, no. Do you want to do one? I went, yeah. Accountant, John, still my accountant to this day, sends this big spreadsheet over, and I'm just like filling it out. Well, if I sell this many cars, and this is what my overhead would be, roughly, worked it all out, what my rent and my rates, and then I think the thing that switched Steve on super quick was I'd put my wage in, and I'd put it in as the absolute minimum I could earn to survive.
Respect.
Because I was like, that's what I think the right thing to do is, because every time I've heard about people who run businesses, they always go, it's a bit hard for a bit.
Yeah.
So like, that's the minimum I could earn. Gave him the thing, and he was like, why have you put in there that's what you want to earn? I said, well, it's like the minimum I can get by on. And I could see Steve be like, hang on. this kid's got something about him. I think he already had that.
Where did that integrity come from? Why? You just knew.
Thought it was the thing that you did. Like, I remember him telling me.
No one's taught you anything, have you? You're going off like gut instinct. You're going off intuition.
Yeah, I think stuff that you just you hear stories from what other people have done, and you just think. He told me a story. I think it was about a year after we set up, about a guy who had an estate agent that he wanted Steve to invest in, and he'd put down that he needed to earn 100 grand a year, like from the get go, and he told me about it, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, that's not going to happen. It's completely unproven. What do you mean? But he's like, he genuinely thinks this is what you should put in a business plan. I was like, what a psycho. You wouldn't do that. That's nuts. Because it's like an alien man. And I think because I've never been a massive chaser of cash, it sounds mentalist, but I've never really chased money. I wouldn't sit there with an investors and go, I need to earn more money. I'm worth more than this. I'd rather the value be in the business, and then ultimately, if it gets sold at some point, or if
the result of that is
something happens, the business does well. Again, something Steve always says: if you look after your business looks after you, and he's right. He's absolutely right. And I think what we started saying, this Instagram generation who've won the £1 million car in a week, and they've invested in crypto, and they've got £5,000 Nike shoes on, and it's like, guys, it's not real. It won't make you happy. You
basically just have these people just from being yourself and just treating people with respect and just. Yeah. I
just think that's and I think why the people that I've got sort of in my immediate circle, your James Calderbanks and Lewis Neal and obviously all the people at VR, Rob and Steve and Jeremy and all those guys that I've got, that deal with us all the time. I think you attract that type of person because you are that type of person. They look at you and they go, well, yeah, he's going to do a good job. He's not going to take the piss. He's not dead lazy, and he'll do. I used to work with a sales guy called Jeff, who's an absolute lunatic, but he used to say that he was from Dwysyd in Wales. Dwysyd is do what you say you will do. So if I say to you,
I'm going to do this.
Right, Tim, your car's going to be ready tomorrow at 2:00.
Yeah.
It's ready at 1:15. Sat outside, mint with a cover on, ready to go. The paperwork's done, signed, sorted. It's ready to go. And then you turn up as a busy person who runs a business and isn't an idiot, and you're not. The salesman goes, I'm so sorry. It's just getting cleaned, and I just give me. I'm just with another customer. Just give me 2 minutes. And the number plates. I've not put your private reg on just yet because we've not had a registration number. We've not had them delivered. And that's buying a car, and that's the difference between buying a car from us and buying a car from a lot of other places. That's the difference. And I think we respect the people that buy stuff off us because they're not idiots enough to make sure that we know that the time's precious, so we know that we're going to do what we say we're going to do. If we say the car's going to be ready on whatever time, that's when it's going to be ready, and that's it. Because otherwise, what are you doing?
What are you doing? So where can people follow you? Where can people look at these cars? Where can
Instagram? Obviously we're on Instagram. There's 2 Instagram pages. There's my sort of Martin VR EPS Instagram. And then we've got the businesses VR EPS. We've started to do a little bit on TikTok because I think I misunderstood the platform a little bit, misunderstood the people that are on it. Yeah. They are actually some of our customers in terms of demographic. So we started to do a little bit on there. Again, it's all VR EPS. The website is updated constantly. I mean, Dan, our little media guy, takes photographs and does all the videos and stuff. He does a really, really good job.
Shout out.
Yeah, he gets shouted at quite a bit, yeah. The lads call him Deck Chair.
Shout out to him, not shout at him.
No, they shout at him. They call him Deck Chair because he falls under pressure, but, take horses for courses. But he does a really good job. He's a creative, so he's, the photographs and the video content that he does is fantastic. It's really, really good. That's sort of where we are. We're on the Auto Trader. Obviously, if you're looking for stuff, I've also written on the top of your wall there, want to buy a car, call me. Do you like one of those weird things you see on toilet doors? Put that. I should put my number, shouldn't I? I get people DM me on Instagram and go,
I'll get a picture of you in your Pierre Cardin suit.
Absolutely, for sure. They DM us, they say, I get customers usually regulars who go, oh, I want a whatever, can you just go and get me one? Because they know that I'll get them the right one. And yeah, or they can come and see us, and they can come and have a cup of tea or a coffee, and they can look around the showroom and go, that's what I've always wanted. Sometimes it's an inspiration. I've had guys that I've walked in and gone, I want one of those, and they've worked really hard, and a year later they've come and bought one.
You just need to do more videos. I was saying it to James the other day, both of you need to do more videos. And you know what I mean? There's
it's
a lot
time though, innit? We always think you've got to do your job.
It is, mate, but this is you know, what I'm talking about is so much bigger than you, it's so much bigger than me, it's so much bigger than James. It's like, it's leading by example of how to run businesses and, you know, what hard work really kind of looks like.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I always try and counter that sort of Instagram thing.
It needs doing.
I'd love to show you the amount of messages I get off people who are crypto millionaires who are asking to rent cars off me for photo shoots. It's like, but you're a multi-millionaire, mate. Just go and buy one. What's the score? And I'll say that to him. Oh no, bro. I just want to.
Did he use the word bro?
Fuck off, mate. Honestly, I'm just like, really? Come on now. Come on. I've been doing this job far too long to be dealing with that shit off you. Do you know what I mean? I just, like I said, some of it annoys me. Some of it, I think there's genuinely inspirational people and stuff on there.
Agree.
But you've just got to have a bit of a sift.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bollocks. Probably more bollocks than there is non-bollocks.
Yeah, a bit of a sift.
Yeah, I would suggest. There's people on there that you go, yeah, I like what that guy stands for, girl stands for. I like them. Yeah. They're cool and they're doing a good job. So I'll tend to try and follow them rather than anybody else.
Appreciate you, mate. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Goodbye.